This is Dan here at Blue Dog Farm, head cowologist and expert turkey whisperer. In here I have 75 turkeys and a guard goose. These are Thanksgiving turkeys, and they're moving from the shelters into pasture, and they're going to be following the cows. So over here I had netting set up for laying hens, and we're going to move 3 of the 4 panels over here to surround the trailer here and let the turkeys out, and they'll just follow the cows along here this fall. It's September 21st, I think, or 22nd, and they're gonna follow the cows along here in this fall pasture. So let's get started. We gotta roll up 3 of these and set them back up. This closest one's going to stay there. So let's get going. So the first thing we need to do is get the pickup unhooked and get it out of the way. I think I put those blocks there. Okay, so when I started out, I looked on YouTube for tips on how to set up this poultry netting, and I found a lot of stuff explaining what it was and very general ideas, but nothing very specific on how to handle this netting. And it definitely, there are some tricks that will save you a lot of time. So I'm going to roll this section up, and there's actually a little bit of a trick to that. It's very basic, but if you don't understand it, you'll end up with a mess. So basically, just pull up the post, and this length here, you're going to fold in half and then pull up the next post, and you keep the folded netting that's folded in half on the same side the whole way down. So here we go. Alright, so now you've got your pulled out netting. Now I'm just setting it up over here, but there are times where it gets rolled up and put into the barn for storage for the next move or for the winter or whatever. And I like to roll it up and tie it so it's easier to handle. What you don't want to do, and what I've done, is roll it up this way with the posts. You don't want to roll the posts inside of the netting, because when you go to unroll it, I mean, it's easier to roll up, but when you go to unroll it, the spike ends of the posts get tangled up in the netting constantly, and it's really difficult to unroll. So what I do, straighten this out a little bit, is I'll roll it up from this side. You roll it up pretty tight as you want it. You leave the poles on the outside. It makes it a whole lot easier to get undone. And then I would take strings and tie it up so it doesn't come loose if I throw it in the back of the RTV or the pickup or whatever. So when you're starting a length, put your corner in next to your other corner, just so it's tight, up next to the other one. So you don't have birds getting out or foxes getting in. And then I always do my string, tie wire, guy wire, whatever you want to call it. Basically, it holds the corner up so the corner doesn't pull over. And I always do that at the time that I hook it up. The reason I do that is when you're stringing out a line like this, you're not pulling the corner over as you're doing it. I just found it works easier if I do it now rather than later. Okay, so I'm gonna go at about a 45-degree angle. This is the stakes that come with it, and you've got this hook that the string's going to go through, and the hook part goes away from the fence. So I'm going to find about a 45-degree angle. I use a hammer because this ground's really hard, and I have a hard time doing it unless it rains real good. There's lots of rocks and stuff in this field, so I use a hammer. At home where there's less rocks and the soil's softer, especially after, you know, when the ground's damp, I can just do it with my foot. So you angle the stake away from the fence because you've got your rope pulling this direction, so you angle it this way. And you put the string underneath the hook and you drive it down until it's tight. What you don't do is drive the stake almost all the way in and then fix your string and then come back and try and find your stake that's now buried in the grass somewhere and you can't find it. So I always am ready to hook up my string when I drive that in so that I don't lose it. There's obviously a wide gap here I need to close, but I'm going to take the other end of the string. I'm going to go around both of these stakes. So I've got the slip knot around it, and then I've got this knot around it. I pull it up tight. You notice it's leaning a little this way. That's because this is at a 45-degree angle. I'd like to say that pulling the other one tight is going to correct it, but it doesn't always. What have I got going on here? There we go. So you don't want to get this first one too tight, because this one won't straighten up if you do. So I like it about like that. I'm going to take this, run it through just in a half hitch. Then I'm going to do it again, but this time I'm going to run a loop through so it's easier to take off. Now that's tight, and I can go ahead and string this out. Okay, so I've got the temporary cow fence here, and it doesn't go in a straight line, so this isn't going to go in a straight line. If it wasn't here, I'd get it in a lot straighter line than it's going to be, but that's okay. It doesn't have to be perfect because it's only temporary. But I want to be standing on the other side of the netting, if at all possible. So I'll pick it up from over here, and I'm just going to walk and lay this out. I'm going to walk backwards. Usually down here's where you get hooked up, so you just watch that. You walk backwards and you just lay the posts out as they come. You see, this is this is backwards. This is a problem. I got to flip this over because it's pulling the net from the other side. This is okay. I just flip it over and let it go underneath. There we go. Now I've got it on the right side. So, as with any fence, when you're putting it out, you want it tight. And I can pull fairly significantly with my arms, but one thing I found that really makes it a good fence is to put your foot against the peg and pull it the direction you want to go and then push it down in the dirt. Now again, this is pretty hard, so I got to work at it to get it in. So I've got this third fence. I've got the corner tied, electrical connection made. Always remember to do this at the corners so when you light the electricity up it goes around, otherwise one side may be cold. I angled away from the cow fence so I could make it a straight line, just for demonstration purposes. It's more or less straight, but we're going this way with the next strand. Now I have 4 lengths, equal lengths of netting. Last year I had 3. Now I've got quite a few more this year, but I had 3, and I could do, I had 6, so I could do 3 at a time. Now when you're setting up a square or rectangle with 3 nettings, let me warn you, you need fuzzy logic and algorithms to figure out how many fence posts on each side that you need out of 3 nettings. The reason being is there are 13 posts in this stretch of fence. 13. So the corner you don't count. So you've got the first corner because you've got 12 because you're going to count it coming back. And that's fine, except that you're making a corner before you get to the end. So you have to figure out if you're going to count that corner in this and in that. And it just gets real complicated, and you usually miss no matter what you do. And you have to redo something to get it to meet. Well, when you've got 4, it's easy. If you've got enough space, you just stretch it all the way out and you make a square. So that's what I'm doing today. It's much easier. I'm making a square. But the problem is you have to get this third one, you have to get it parallel to the first one that's going down the other side of the trailer there. And the reason being is this is going to end, and you want it the same distance between the end of the first one and the end of the third one, so that your fourth one will reach and not go too far. And so I've got this little stake, and what I do is I'll pace, and for me it's 52 paces from that corner out, and I'll put this stake in the ground, and that's what I'll aim for. Now, it doesn't always work out perfectly, but it's better than just guessing and having to redo a bunch and have, you know, weird corners in your fence. So let's give this a shot. All right, I've got my 4th netting down here to do the last one and close it in. Let's see how well I did with my pacing and see how close it comes out to this end. I obviously haven't measured it any other way than stepping it off because the netting's still clear over there at that corner. So let's see how good we did. So it would appear that I'm about 2 feet short, but I've got quite an arc in my line, so by the time I straighten it up and stand up the posts, it should be pretty close. Let's see how it looks. Oh no, I'm about 1 foot short. So what we do in this case is we split the difference. Make sure both of them are tight, and that's where we put them in. So the end result is I've got a little bobble in the fence right here to make the corners match. But again, since it's temporary, it's not a big deal. However, if I had not have stepped that off, there could have been a lot more to fix the corner here than just moving one corner post. So let's go turn the turkeys out. So this is their first time out of the shelter, and in a big 1/4 acre spot like this, there is a guard goose in there to protect them from aerial predators, although they're getting almost to the point where, I don't know, maybe like an eagle would think about taking one. So I like to keep the guard goose with them till the end. They're a little shy coming out because this is their first time and they don't know what to expect. Is something gonna get them when they come out? They don't know. And being that they're turkeys, they're not real smart. Now, I've done this with chickens mixed with the turkeys with a couple of chickens in them. So the chickens could show them how to get in and out of the trailer up this ramp and get in and out to get feed and water, but it didn't work. I think I needed to have more chickens for that to work. They just never most of them didn't get it. So what I have to do is open the back. The big, when this had horses in, there's a big ramp door in the back that folds down. It opens up the entire back of the trailer. And with a hole that big, they get it figured out where their food and water is. They've had food and water in there while I was building the fence, so you'd think they'd get a clue, but in my experience, turkeys are pretty gooseless. Gooseless, there's the goose. In my experience, turkeys are pretty clueless. Obviously not gooseless. Hi! Oh my goodness, that was graceful. So let's open up the back. Doing his job. Gustav, the goose. Let's open up the back and let the turkeys out. Isn't that right, Gustav? Isn't that right, Gustav?